To be able to import the hair that we made in Blender to Unreal Engine, we have to make sure that the plugins that we need for Unreal Engine is turned on. So there's going to be some groom plugins that must be turned on here in Unreal. To do that, just go to Edit, go to Plugins, and then on the search, just type in groom. All right. And there are two things I need to turn on: the Alembic Groom Importer, so you're going to be able to import your groom, and also this groom right here, so you're going to be able to render and simulate your grooms if you need to. But these two things, make sure that you turn them on, and you might have to restart your Unreal Engine file, but yeah, this is very important. Okay, yeah, so go ahead and do that. And another thing that we need to do is we need to go to Edit. Let's go to Edit here. Let's go to Project Settings, and then on the search here, let's type in skin, and make sure that for the support compute skin cache that you have that turned on, because later on we are going to be rendering this out, and in order for this to show and to be able to work the hair, this has to be turned on. So yeah, make sure that you do that. How do we exactly put the hair here inside Unreal Engine? First, let's go to Blender, and we have to go select each of our hair meshes. So all these sculpt mesh where our particle system is linked to, we have to go to each of these, and we have to make sure if we go to our particle properties right here, and we have to make sure that in the render rollout and also in the viewport display in the particle properties that you turn off the show emitter. If you have show emitter turned on, you will not be able to import the hair inside Unreal Engine. So make sure you go to each of these, render, turn off show emitter, and viewport display, uncheck show emitter. So just go to each of your hair and go to your particle properties and do the same thing. Just go to viewport display, it's already turned off, and render, turned off. I'm going to go to main hair here. Okay, I'm going to turn off the show emitter, turn off show emitter, and I'm going to go to the lashes. For the lashes, turn off show emitter, turn off show emitter, and make sure that another thing that you need to check is if you go to your children, right, that your display amount is the same as the render amount. Okay, so that way, however it looks like in the viewport display here, if you put it in Unreal Engine, it's going to look the same from how it looks in your viewport. So I'm going to set the render amount. Since the display amount is 3, I'm also going to set this to 3, and then lashes at the top part, render amount 3. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that show emitter is turned off. It's turned off, show emitter, and yeah, everything's turned off there. Okay, so I double check everything, all the show emitter is turned off, and yeah, and also as I mentioned before, display amount, render amount, make sure that they're all the same number for everything here. Okay, so now after you double check everything, let's go and select all of our hair meshes. So I got everything in the hair collection folder, so I'm just gonna select the first one and then hold shift and click on the last one, and I'm gonna go to File, Export, and export Alembic, and just go and save it somewhere. I'm gonna put in my hair folder here, and it looks like I'm just gonna replace the one that I was testing out, and I'm gonna go ahead, and this is very important, we have to adjust some properties here. So for the scale, we have to change that. Let's change it to from 1 to 100. That way, the scale will work properly in the Unreal Engine. Okay, so 100 is very important, and then the frame starts 1, and it's going to be 1. Selected objects and visible objects. So it will only export out the hair meshes that we have selected. We don't want to export out the camera. We don't want to export out the lights, because that's also going to give you issues. You're not going to be able to import your hair if you have all the other objects selected. And then make sure that you turn off all of these. All right, turn off all of those, and then make sure export hair, export particle is turned on, and yeah, export as Alembic. And there you go. Now let's go to Unreal Engine, And let's go to our characters folder. And I'm just gonna go ahead and go to my character folder here. Let's go ahead and create a new folder, call it hair, and go inside it. And we're gonna drag and drop our hair that we exported out. So this is the hair that I recently exported out. So if you look at kilobytes, if you have more than 1 kilobyte, it should be about this amount that you have, or maybe larger or slightly smaller, but you cannot have 1 KB. If you only have 1 KB, that means you didn't export it properly. So make sure you go back to the video and do exactly as I did. And just click and drag it onto whatever folder you want it to be in. And then you're gonna see this groom import option if you did it correctly and you follow exactly what I did. And then there are some things they have to make sure that you set for the rotation and the X direction. Make sure that you set it to 90 degrees. It's very important. Otherwise, it will be rotated improperly and it's not going to fit the character. And make sure that for scale, we set it to -1 so that it will be scaled exactly as how we see for our Blender. And it's going to match what we have here for our scale here for Unreal. And then let's go ahead and import. And there you go. So you should see a hair groom, and the symbol looks like this. Alright, so once that's all done, we could go, zoom out. Okay, zoom in slowly. Okay, so we gotta drop our groom here. Just click and drag this onto your scene, and you can see that it's just floating right there. We want it to be where our character is at. So we could go ahead and select our character, and if you go to the transform location here and the details tab here, we have to make sure that the same exact values that we see for the location in the XYZ is going to be the same for our hair groom here. Okay, so let's go and select the very first value, which is this right here in the X direction. I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go to my hair, select the hair. If you're having trouble selecting through the viewport, you could also go to the outliner here and then search for the name of your groom, which is for me, hair. And I'm going to go and select that and then copy what I had. Control V, there you go. And I'm going to go select my character again. And then I'm going to go to my Y direction and the location. And I'm going to copy that value, go to my hair again, select my hair, go to the Y direction here and Control V to paste that. Now you should see that we have our character's groom on our character's head and eyebrows, and he looks like Cisco. I don't want him to have blonde hair. So how exactly do we change the color of our hair? All you gotta do is double click on your hair groom here, double click, and this should pop up, this window, and there's gonna be some tabs here. I want you guys to go to the material tab. Just be careful not to exit it out, but yeah, go to the material, and then you're going to see that we have the material slot here. Just click on the plus sign, click on the plus sign here. So we have an element there that we could assign a material to, and where it says none, just click on there, right? Oops, actually click here. Yeah, click here where it says none, right? And let's go type in hair. Okay, so we have the MI hair material instance, so we could use that one. Okay, and there's the hair right there. If you want to change the color, you could double click on this, double click on it, and then you could, yeah, you could go ahead and drag this, and then you could go to the hair melanin and change the value. So if you want it to be more of a lighter tone, the hair, you could set it to a lower value, 0.2. And let's say you want it to be darker, you could crank up the value, 0.5. So you could see it start to get darker and darker. So maybe I could set it to, yeah, 0.8 is fine. And another thing is, if I look here, I think the eyebrows might be a little bit on the thick side. So I wanna change that up. I think I'm gonna go ahead and change that in Blender. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my Blender, and I'm gonna go to my eyebrows here, and I'm gonna go to my properties here for my particles. Scroll down. Okay, so for the diameter root, I'm going to bring that down to maybe 0.02, and the tip here 0.009. Okay, and maybe we don't have to have as much. Let me see. So I have 6 and 6 here. Maybe that should be fine. Maybe all I need was to really thin out the each hair strand. And I scroll down. Let me make it thinner. 0.01. Okay. And 0.007. All right, let me try this out. So you have to export everything again as one. So I'm going to select all of these again and export it. I'm going to go to File, Export, Alembic, and make sure that you always set the properties the same as before. So 100 scale, and it's going to be 1, and selected and visible objects, hide all of these, and then export hair, export particles, and then I'm going to replace what I had, replace all that. And then we go back to Unreal Engine, and we could just, if you made changes to the hair, you have to re-import it. To re-import, just right click and re-import, and then just click import. All right, let me look at the hair here. All right, so there's a little bit of change. Maybe I could reduce the amount of hair that I have there for the eyebrows. So I'm gonna go there, go back to my eyebrows. Let me look at the eyebrows. Ooh, okay, so yeah, I think I need to reduce it. So maybe I could set it to 4 and 4. It may look fine here in Blender, but if you go to Unreal Engine, if it's not looking right, you could always adjust it. Export again. I'm gonna go export it. I think everything else has remained the same. And then I'm gonna go over here, right click and re-import. Import. Okay, that's better. And another thing that we could do, if you think that the hair strand is too thick, I'm gonna go and first of all save the material for my hair. I'm gonna go and save that. All right, exit that out. And yeah, going back to our hair, double click on the hair here, right? So now you should have this window pop up again. And then you could maximize this for now. Okay, we go to the strands rollout here, okay? I'm gonna drag it. And then you're gonna see in the strands tab, the properties, the hair root scale and the hair tip scale. So you could adjust each individual strand, how thick you want it to be. So maybe I could set this to 0.6 and tip is gonna be 0.5. And you can see the difference. It definitely got thinner. I don't want it that thin, so maybe I can set it to 0.8 the root. And then the tip, actually the tip is, the root's always going to be thicker, and then the tip is thinner. So I'm going to set this to 0.6. Okay, I think this is definitely a lot better. And remember, if you see an asterisk, that means you made changes, and make sure that you save this. I'm going to go ahead and save it. There you go. And I'm going to go and exit that out. Yeah, I'm going to go click Save Selected. Sorry guys, I just accidentally exited out Unreal, so I had to reopen it. But yeah, if you just kind of zoom in there, you could see the hair for our character, which is looking much, much better. Okay, so you could see the hair. So instead of just having a paint, you could actually see that there's real hair on there, individual hair strands, which is very nice. Okay, we got the eyelashes going on and everything. Okay, so I think that is it for our hair. Another thing is, you could, if you want to play around with the lighting, you could select your directional light. So this is the directional light right here. You could click that, and then you could go ahead and rotate that. I'm gonna go ahead and actually move it closer to my guy. All right. If you move this, it's really not going to affect the lighting. Only when you rotate it is when it affects the lighting here. So there you go. And if you want to rotate, press E on your keyboard. And I think I want to go ahead and rotate it maybe this way. Maybe I want to rotate it so the shadow is kind of more going that direction. All right. But yeah, so this is what we have, guys. We got the hair, we got the materials going, and feel free to go back and adjust you could always go back to Blender and adjust the thickness of your hair if you need to, or go to your hair groom here if you need to. But yeah, this is how you import your hair here in Unreal.